All right, here we go. Okay, so our family, we have 6 kids. We have all the way up to almost 20, and then all the way down to almost 20 months. And so we have a big gap between our first 5 and our little guy. And so we had a really eye-opening experience with our little guy yesterday. And I wanted to tell you guys about it. So you might have seen me start to share some just practices that we've done in our own family, things that work really well for us, some eye-opening things about chemicals and kids, and just different things that I feel really passionate about that have been a part of either my health story or they've been a part of our kids' health story or someone we know, practices that we have been doing for years and years and years that I know have really benefited our family. And so I'm kind of been gearing up and sharing some of that because in my women's health group, we are actually focusing on kids' health this month, the month of August. And so I've kind of been just gearing up with content and thinking about things to share, and I've gone ahead and started just sharing in my personal, social spaces with that because something that I'm incredibly passionate about with my own health story, but also seeing the difference in my kids. So I'm going to probably say this again in a little bit, but listen, this is crazy. Ryan and I were just talking a couple of days ago, and so in 20 years of parenting, we have only been to the doctor. We've only had to take our kids in to the doctor 2, maybe 3 times that I can think of for an illness that we could not handle like at home. Okay, so in 20 years of parenting, 6 kids, we've only been to the doctor for an illness. I think 2, maybe there was a 3rd time that I'm thinking of that came to mind the other day. In 20 years of parenting. Okay, that is not the norm. And I don't take that for granted. And I know there's a lot of factors that have played into that. And honestly, that is what I'm passionate about sharing. Tools that I know that have worked for me. They're the reasons why I know that is true. And I hope that they're things that I can help you easily implement into your own home, because the statistics on our kids' health right now are not good. They're very, very scary. 1 in 2, that means half of the kids that are alive right now today are going to have cancer sometime in their lifetime. And I think it's time that we start asking why. And I think it's time that we start saying, this is my responsibility. It's not, somebody else's. I'm not just going to trust what's out there on the shelves is safe. I'm not going to just trust that company or this marketing or this, tricky marketing especially, and all the things. I'm going to be the gatekeeper of my home, okay? So that is where my passion is coming from. So first off, too, I want to say I'm not a doctor. I'm a mom. I'm a doctor mom, okay? And have a lot of experience. I do have a degree in food. I have a degree in nutrition and nutritional healing. But honestly, most of what I share comes from my own just nitty-gritty, hashing it out, figuring it out for myself. So anyway, all that to say, let me share with you guys what happened yesterday. So Asher is 20 or almost 20 months old, and we've raised him just like we raised the other kids. We do what's called baby led weaning. So we nurse just at his request. So I still am nursing him. He nurses as much or as little as he wants in a day or night. And we let that process go on until he's ready to wean. Most of my kids have weaned around 3 years old. And it kind of, tapers off as they are incorporating more foods and experimenting and having fun with food and all of that. But with baby-led weaning specifically, you really let them take the lead on their food. And what we provide is we don't do baby food. We just do healthy food, so everything starting out, it's really soft and, smushy avocado, little chunks of sweet potato. And it's more exploratory, not so much full-on nutrition that I'm expecting them to get from their food. I know that they're still getting a lot of that from their, from nursing. But like I said, it kind of ebbs and flows through that first like 3 years of life until they're fully weaned, and then they're off and running on their own. During that time, yeah, like I said, it's hit or miss, like in some days he may eat a lot, some days he may eat a little bit, some days he may nurse a lot, some days he may nurse a little bit. And it just kind of goes like that, okay, until he's ready to wean. So that is how we handle food in those years. And also the food that we do offer him, which we offer what's closest to the way it's found in nature. And go ahead and just write that down. That's going to be your rule of thumb even for your older kids, okay? So if you listen to this and you think, I want to make changes, but I don't know where to start, I'm going to talk about that at the end. But this is what I'm going to say now, and I'm going to say it again. Food that is just the way it's closest to how you would find it in nature, okay? That is your best bet no matter what. And that's how we feed our family. That's how we feed all of our kids that way. And I know that has made a significant difference in their overall wellness. They don't get sick a lot. And like I said, with 6 kids in 20 years, we've only been to the doctor 3 times that I can remember for an illness where we couldn't get it handled ourselves. And honestly, both of the times I can remember, it was because it just had gone on for too long and I just was like exhausted. And they didn't really even prescribe anything or do anything beyond what I was already doing at home. It was just a matter of it running its course. So I feel like our statistics really show that this is proof that this works, okay? Here's what happened though last night. So Asher he doesn't really have sugar. He eats fruit, vegetables, meat, rice, like all those types of things, like, grains. He eats, the only sugar that he's had are what we make ourselves. So like we make our own homemade ice cream for fun. We do desserts. Like he has those types of things. So he has plenty of, just a huge variety. He eats pretty much everything we eat, but we make it ourselves. So we know what's in it. Okay. And that's our rule of thumb for all of us, not just for him. So yesterday we thought, you know what, we have not been out for froyo in forever. And so let's just go for a fun treat. Let's just take everybody, let's go have some froyo in the weekend and get ready for a week and it'll be fun. So we're in a new area and we had a froyo place that we loved where we lived before and their ingredients were fairly clean. Also, let me say, when we do a treat, we just do a treat. I don't really worry that much about it. Like I'm not the food police. I don't believe in that at all. I don't believe in being super controlling about food. My kids know that there are foods that make them feel like crap because we eat really just clean and well, not over crazy. Like I don't put a ton of, I'm not a crazy person about the food. We just eat clean, healthy food, okay? I don't make a huge deal about it. But my kids also know when they drink a soda, when they, eat a lot of sugar, like at a birthday party or something like that, they get a headache, like because their bodies aren't used to having that. And so my older kids, they choose that for themselves. I don't have to be the food police because I've walked alongside them with them in this journey, teaching them this whole time. And I also don't do the like good food, bad food. Like I don't do that kind of thing. I just say, obviously these foods are going to make your body feel its best. You're going to think clear. You're going to have more energy, all of that. And these, are fun treats occasionally. That's how we handle that like conversation. And it's also how I do it, for myself. I don't do cheat days. I don't do that kind of language around food. We eat healthy food that we love and enjoy. And if I want to have a sweet treat, then I have it. It's not a big deal. So all that to say, we decided, we're going to go out for froyo. So we had never been to this place before, but here's where we're going to talk about tricky marketing, okay? And here's where we're going to talk about why it's so important that you don't just trust what you see at face value, what you're seeing on the shelves. And so of course, on the outside, it says live cultures, no added sugar, real fruit on their marketing outside. And I wasn't really looking for all that, but I just did. I mean, it was a treat. We were just going to have a treat. It wasn't that big of a deal. But I noticed all that when we went in, and I was like, oh, okay, well, this is probably similar to where we used to go, where we used to live. And theirs was decent, you know, fairly clean ingredients, not a lot of extra junk. And so anyway, we had yogurt. While we were sitting there eating, I didn't realize it until later, after we got home and this whole thing happened. But while we were sitting there, he actually climbed down. He was sitting with one of my girls, and he said he was asking for something to drink. He was really thirsty. And have you ever had that happen where you're having like something like sugary or a treat from a restaurant or something where you don't normally have, and you get really thirsty? That's actually chemicals in the food that are made to alter your taste buds. They're made to make you want more. It's in a lot of things, like a lot. If you're not an active ingredient reader, it's probably in most of what you have in your pantry right now. And it's in all fast food. That's why we made the decision to just really cut fast food out of our lives, because there's just no benefit to it. So we did that 9 years ago, I guess. So anyway, so we're sitting there, he's like, starts to really fuss that he's really thirsty. And I noticed he seemed agitated. Like I said, he's 20 months old, but he has a huge vocabulary. So he's asking for something to drink. So we got him some water, and then, we started driving. It was late. It was later. So I knew he was getting tired. I had one place I needed to stop. So we did that. But on the way home, he was getting really, really fussy. And I just thought, well, I guess he's just getting tired. But then as we were getting out, he, again, and this is why I titled this the way that I did, because a lot of times we're playing things off that our kids are experiencing. We're playing it off as, you know, oh, he's tired, or he's just being defiant, or he's being rebellious, or he's just, you know, asserting his will, or whatever it is. And it's really what we're putting in their bodies that is altering the way that they can interact with their environments. Guys, mamas, this is real. Okay, so he's an incredibly smart kid. He knows exactly what he wants. Hi, baby. He just got it from his nap. Yes, he does have the typical toddler, like when he wants something, he doesn't get it. You know, we do all the things to help him have language for what he's asking for. But when he got out of the car, he got upset because of the unbuckling, you know, which is typical for a toddler. He wanted to do the buckle himself or something. Anyway, he went from fussing about it to complete and total all-out meltdown, would not get out of the car, hysterical. And that snowballed for probably an hour, which was so unlike him that, I mean, I was in tears. A couple of my girls were like standing outside my door, like, how can we help you? What do we need to do? He was just like drooling, slobbering, red, his face completely red, like what you would see as a toddler tantrum. And my heart just started to ache, and I went, this is just another place that I feel like God has given me experiences that I need to be a voice for mamas who may not know. You may think that your kid is just being a toddler. In my women's group, we talk about hormone stuff that we think like pain in our periods, okay? That we say, oh, that's just normal. That's not normal. It's actually just common because we're not taking care of our bodies. We're not giving our bodies the support that they need. Same thing with this. We talk about the terrible twos. That's a lot of times when your kiddo is starting to experiment with a whole bunch of different foods, and you're starting to maybe pass them a lot of center aisle snacks, what I call them, like goldfish crackers, things like that are just easy, granola bars, just things like that, fruit snacks. A lot of things are coming into their bodies that weren't before, and we associate behaviors of toddlers with, you know, like, oh, it's just his terrible twos. Let me tell you something. I have 6 kids. We never had terrible twos. We had amazing twos. My 2 is one of my favorite ages. I don't say that in a bragging or prideful way, but their nutrition was a priority for me because of what had happened with my own body failing me at 20 years old. and me being able to do a lot of healing work through nutrition, I didn't buy the lie that what's out there that is marketed as convenient for mamas is best for my kid. And so what I just want to say to you is, like, if you have a child who is really defiant, who has struggled with transitions, like going from one activity, or hey, it's time to go, and they melt down, or sleeping restfully, or learning disability, or learning any type of just learning delays, or just any of the things I mentioned, anything where you think it's a difficult behavior, look at what they are getting in their food. So what happened, I'm like, he's never done that before, but he has also, there are times when he strongly says he wants something, or maybe he'll cry if he doesn't get it, but nothing like this. But what he did was a pretty typical toddler meltdown tantrum. And that is not okay. Because he did that, I knew it in my gut immediately. Like after it started to snowball and I couldn't get him out of it, I knew it was what. And so we pulled up the website. We opened up the ingredients on, guys, strawberry frozen yogurt. It was strawberry frozen yogurt. Ryan put like a few chocolate chips on it and some fresh strawberries. You would have thought that was fine. But let me tell you what was in that yogurt. Basically, I spent $40 to feed my kids poison, which makes me so mad. There was dye, which, I just made a post about this the other day. Like, look at the dyes. Look at what they do. They cause, in scientific studies, like there is actual studies to show, they cause recurrent ear infections. They cause ADHD-like behaviors. They cause breathing difficulty. They cause swelling in hands and feet. Like, I just made a post. Go back to my wall and read through some of the things that dyes do. This is not like a maybe, okay? They're bad. So there was dye in the yogurt, okay? There was also multiple forms of alternative sweeteners. It said no sugar on it, which we typically, that's a very tricky marketing. If something says sugar-free, avoid it like the plague, okay? Do not feed that to your kids or yourselves or anybody. And it didn't say it in the typical way, so Ryan thought it was fine. It just said like no added sugar, and so it didn't allude to the fact that it actually had multiple forms of artificial sweeteners in it. Sucralose, guys, if you turn over the label of every single thing in your pantry, in your fridge, if you have sucralose in anything, throw it in the trash, because that's what it is. There is, again, studies. It wipes out the gut of healthy bacteria, okay? The healthy bacteria that you need to fight off illness, that your kids need to fight off illness. The healthy bacteria that tells their brain to regulate their emotions in a healthy way. The connection from the gut to the brain is like, they're like one, basically. So if they're getting a ton of chemicals into their tummy, they're not going to respond appropriately with their brain. Their mood is going to be probably more than off. You're going to experience the things like what I was saying, the defiance, the difficulty with transitions, the major meltdowns that you can't, get your kid out of, those types of things. Anxiety, depression for even as your kids get older. I'm not just talking about little kids here. If they worry a lot, those are all signs that the balance of the gut bacteria is off, and it's not being able to fire correctly or send the correct signals to the brain to regulate stress and that type of thing. Okay, so what else was in it? There was, like I said, multiple forms of artificial sweeteners. There was also aspartame, which is a neurotoxin. Like, it's an actual proven neurotoxin. Just look it up. Says it right away when you Google it. And then carrageenan. That is another big one. Go right now to your pantry, to your fridge, turn over every single thick product like sour cream, condiments. Even if they're from the healthy section, this is an algae that, so a lot of natural products use it, but it actually causes inflammation in the gut lining. Inflammation is a precursor to disease, okay? You do not want any products with carrageenan in your family. I just recently was so mad. And again, I just want to talk about tricky marketing for a second. So just recently, I use a, we don't do a ton of sandwiches, but of course they're an easy thing to have on hand. And I had started buying, I use a grocery delivery, so I had not looked at the label. And so anyway, I was getting a brand of lunch meat, which is a typical place for carrageenan. I had somebody grab it, shopper on my grocery delivery, and then I just kept getting it. I never looked at the label. So, we're all doing our best. That's the other thing I want to say. We're all doing our best, but this is something we need to take care and time to, and diligence to be guards of that gate into our home is the chemicals and our kids. So anyways, we've been using this lunch meat for several months, and I turned it over. Of course, it's the no nitrate, because we don't do nitrates or anything like that. It's the healthy, the clean version of lunch meat, and it had carrageenan in it. I was so mad. Because it just destroys the lining of the gut, which you desperately need to be able to keep all of your nutrition in, and then be able to have it utilized the way that the body's supposed to utilize it. So tricky marketing. Let me tell you all the things that were on the door of this yogurt place. Live cultures, no high fructose corn syrup, no sugar added, gluten-free, real strawberries, non-fat. Okay, so it looked amazing. If I had not known better or had just that gut check about it, we would have never looked at the labels. I probably could have just said, oh, he was really tired. But it was way more than that. And I know, especially now, seeing that, he was reacting to those chemicals that he's never gotten, which is really, really proof that when we have that exposure, like our other kids that maybe they've had those things, our kids are still pretty sensitive to them because they don't have them as part of their regular everyday life. But if your kid is melting down all the time or worrying nonstop, and you can't help them snap out of that, you can't help them regulate out of that, look at their food. Look at their food and see if there are some changes that you can make. Because I know his 20 months has been so preserved as far as what he has eaten, that I know it was a reaction to that. It was just such a reminder that this is just such an important area for us to look at as mamas, grandmamas, all the things. Okay, so so he immediate thirst, and he was also really thirsty during the night. Snap out of it, which is very unlikely for him, or unlike him, not unlikely, very unlike him. So let me tell you on the flip side, I want to give you some tools to help you if you're like, oh my gosh, I hear what you're saying, but I'm overwhelmed by this. And please feel free to ask any questions in the comments or anything like that. But let me just give you some just really simple tips, and I want to tell you what I'm doing today for his system to offset what happened. And they are tools that you guys can use today as well. Okay, so first and foremost, I want to replenish his gut, because I know what that sucralose does to the gut. And listen, look in your sports products, your drinks, mamas, all of that. Look in there for sucralose and carrageenan. You don't want those anywhere near your family. Again, you don't want those anywhere near your family. So today for him, because I know he's had an exposure to that, I'm going to be really diligent with replenishing his gut. I'm going to talk about Plexus because these products have kept my family so well for so long. So I've been using these products for almost 8 years. And, we've had, like I said, we've had this, my kids have had a lifetime in general of really good, health. But I can tell you 1000%, that our amount of illness, the frequency of illness, and the duration of illness went significantly down when we started incorporating these products into our home. So a lot of people, there's a misconception about Plexus that it's, they're just diet products or something like that, but they're absolutely not. They are super high quality nutrition with the gut in mind. In almost every single product, the gut is the focus. So this is the product that was literally life-changing for me for IBS. my autoimmune illness. I had multiple autoimmune illnesses, and they've all been in remission for a full 5, almost 6 years, like complete full remission. I have 0 markers of any kind for autoimmune illness. This is the reason. And my kids get this as well. Same thing when we started incorporating this into their bodies and their routines. Their frequency of illness and their duration of illness went significantly down. That's because this is a blend of not just probiotics, but it also has enzymes. So like I was saying, the sucralose, he was exposed to that. What that does is it wipes out the gut of healthy microbes that you need to do all the things. You need them to absorb your nutrition. You need them to ignite your immune system. 80% of your immune system is in your gut. You also need them to connect to the brain and regulate your emotions. So there are other organisms in your gut lining that are opportunistic. So when the healthy bacteria is at a low, so like if you take an antibiotic, if your kiddo eats sugar, even just sugar, it is unfortunate, but even just a little bit of sugar will diminish the amount of healthy bacteria. This opportunistic organism will take advantage. That is how the balance of the gut gets off. So your kiddo then might be struggling with constipation, tummy aches, food allergies, food sensitivities, and then all the list of emotional things that I said, the worry, the excessive anxiety, having trouble transitioning, learning struggles. All of those things are associated with an imbalance in the gut, okay? Even sleep and restful sleep and all of that. So what I'm going to do for him today is, this is a capsule, and so I'm going to make sure that his gut gets replenished. We're going to be really diligent with no extra sweet treats, anything like that for probably a week or so, just to make sure that his healthy microbes, his healthy bacteria have a chance to flourish. And I'm going to take this, I'm going to break it open, and I'm going to give him half of a capsule in a little bit of sugar-free, not sugar-free on the brand, but there's no sugar added to it, just plain yogurt, and then let him eat that down. And we're going to do half a capsule of that he's 20 months old, for every night for probably a week. And that's just to really, really replenish the gut from all of that most likely being wiped out in one serving of crappy froyo. The other thing that I'm doing for him is I'm making sure that he gets really replenished with hydration. He was, like I said, very, very thirsty. Those types of chemicals that you find in most foods, chips, goldfish, center aisle snacks is what I call them. Fast food is the same way. They change the chemistry in the mouth and the body. And so this is Plexus's new hydration drink. This has been a lifesaver. I honestly don't know how we live without this product. This is different than giving him something like Gatorade or something like that to replenish him. That's not those don't replenish. Those, first of all, they're made for athletes, and he hasn't done anything athletic. He literally just needs to replenish the minerals and things that were lost from, the chemical alteration and the yuck in that yogurt. And so this is an electrolyte drink mix. And so I'm going to be I already gave him some in the night, and I gave him some this morning, and I'll give him a little bit more. It has 0 sugar in it, no artificial sweeteners, nothing like that. It's literally made with coconut water, actual healthy stuff, blueberries. So it's truly going to replenish his body and kind of get that balance back with, him being so thirsty. And then he also gets one of these X Factor Kids a day. And this, again, helps keep his body healthy and gut healthy and all of that. And so I'm going to make sure that he gets that. And then we have a drink for our kiddos as well that is it's like all the good things. It's really great for their brain. It's got fiber. It's DHA. It's all just healthy brain, healthy cognitive, all the things. So I'm just going to be for him, since he's nursing, he doesn't get these things every day because I'm taking a ton of good nutrition. But since he had that happen, I am going to make sure for the next few days to a week that he just gets extra nutrition, not just from supplements, but also from food. So lots and lots of living, growing foods that he loves to get his body right again, okay? So, but these are also things that we do daily just because, you know, there's exposure to even as hard as we try. But I'm going to be a little bit over diligent with him after that happening, and just making sure that I replenish his body really well. So, okay, let me see what else. I wrote things down because I wanted to make sure I got everything. The other things I'm going to do is make sure that he gets to play in the dirt and play in the sunshine. Both of those things really, really help increase the healthy bacteria, healthy microbes in the body. And so I'm going to make sure he gets plenty of outside time in the sun and playing in the dirt, and just that his body gets resettled and, you know, he can thrive again. So he, in 20 months, he's only been sick one time. And it was just a little cold. It was very short-lived. So I'm very, very grateful. I'm grateful for my own health story, that my body was in the state that it was before I even had kids, because I had to dig really deep and figure out for myself what the body is made to do, what it's capable of doing, what it needs, what it needs to thrive. And so I've been able to incorporate that for my kids from day one. So listen, if you're listening to what I'm saying and you're like, oh my gosh, I've been feeding my kids all the things that you're talking about. They've been having all the things that you're mentioning. Where do I start? I feel so overwhelmed. First of all, don't feel overwhelmed. I know I can say that, but for real, don't. Just start, okay? Just start. Don't overthink that you have to go home and just like dump every single thing out of your fridge and pantry, and you have to buy, you know, everything all new, and, you know, don't feel overwhelmed. Just start somewhere. I find that actually incorporating small changes at first and doing them and making them part of your routine is actually much more effective than going, like I said, going in and like literally dumping everything, and we're never eating anything junky again. Like that won't work. You and I both know that. So start with like maybe one meal where, you know, you really want to see, my people are jumping in the pool now. One meal, okay? Like we're gonna really focus on eating just great, clean, healthy food for lunch every day or for dinner every day. That kind of thing. Or maybe it's, you know, for me, for a little while, I realized that I had fallen into the convenient stuff too. And one of the really simple, easy changes I made was I stopped shopping in the center of the store. And I went on and did my health coaching certification, and this is one of the things that I help people with in the very beginning. 2 things you can cut your budget and your chemical intake is bread products and the center aisle snacks. So don't even go down the pretzel goldfish chip aisle, and bread products like bagels, you know, all of that kind of stuff. Sandwich bread, the you know, inexpensive is full of chemicals, okay? Like you could be pushing your cart to the checkout line with $100 worth of Roundup. If you're buying a lot of center aisle snacks or bread products. So that's one place you can just cut that out. Be creative with your lunches. Don't do sandwiches. You know, do a piece of fruit and, you know, other things, okay? Instead of like chippy, snacky, goldfishy type things. That will, again, like I said, cut your budget, make room for some organic produce instead of conventional, and it also will significantly change your chemical intake in your diet. Those products, if they are not certified organic, any product that has wheat in it or corn in it is literally sprayed with Roundup right before it's put into the package. The same Roundup that you're spraying on your grass or whatever, you know, that same chemical. The levels are ultra high when they take the product right out of the box or the bag and they test it. And we're putting that right into our bodies, right into our kiddos. And then we're wondering why we can't get them to cooperate or, you know, stop melting down or stop being sick, or why we can't get our mood under control, or all those types of things. So I don't want you to go at this from a place of fear. I want you to go at this from a place of empowerment and education. Take the tips that I've told you and just start. I'm going to do one thing now, and we're going to work on that for a little bit. And when we have that down, we're going to incorporate something new. Okay? I love to help with this. If you follow me on Instagram, my name is just, Maggie Bocross on Instagram. If you will look in my highlights, I have a ton of food ideas for kids, menu ideas, just simple food. And then, like I said, again, keep in mind, you don't have to overthink it. I don't buy a bunch of pre-made, pre-packaged, just get the food. Just get apples, get bananas, get lettuce, get tomatoes, get chicken, get, steak. Just get actual real food, real butter, real sour cream. And then that's what you make food with, okay? That's what you make meals with. That's what you make snacks with. And I promise you, it's easier than you think, okay? So, don't feel overwhelmed. Just start. If you need help, please reach out to me. Like I said, I love to help with this. Get into my Balanced Women's Health group this month because I'm going to be just pouring tons of knowledge and all the things into the content in there all month long will be focused on healthy kids, okay? And then the other thing is don't be a crazy person about it because your kids will rebel. If your kids are used to eating a lot of fast food, center aisle snacks, if they're used to drinking sodas, their taste is made for that. So when you hand them a glass of water or an apple or whatever, it's not going to taste as good as it could. So just know that it will take time, okay? Our theme in my women's group for this month is that meaningful things take time, and this will take some time, okay? Pray over your kids. Don't leave that out. God will give you ideas. He will, I promise you, if you feel stressed about buying organic food is more expensive than conventional, like produce, for example. It is. I understand that it is. If you cut out a lot of the snacks, if you cut out a lot of the extras, you can afford organic produce. I mean, for a very long time, I was able to feed us 100% organic, a big family before we had our little guys. So a family of 7 for $30 to $35 a day. Okay, so I know it can be done. But a lot of the organic products are more expensive. So just stick to the real food. Don't overcomplicate it. Smoothies are a wonderful snack. An apple and peanut butter with the peanut butter that doesn't have the extra sugar. Okay, just all of those kind of things. So anyway, don't be a crazy person. Your kids will rebel. So have them help you, have them shop with you, have them make the food with you. That is really, really helpful. Incorporate them, have conversations with them. Don't just say we're never eating that again and too bad, because it will cause more meltdowns. Their bodies are addicted. The bodies become addicted to sugar and chemicals that you find in all of those foods. So it is a change that their body needs to make. Also, reach out to me if you need help with supplements. Supporting their body with supplements while you're making the changes can really, really help make the transition easier because it will help change that chemistry and it will help change their cravings. And so that's really important. Also, if your kiddo has been on an antibiotic in the last year to 2 years, that's how long it takes to replenish the gut of healthy microbes. So the antibiotic does a lot like the sucralose, where it just wipes the gut out of healthy bacteria, and the opportunistic just takes over, okay? So if they've been on an antibiotic in the last year or two, it can take up to 2 years to replenish the body. And you haven't done anything to actively, put in good healthy microbes again, reach out to me. This is so simple. This is an inexpensive supplement, but it is a powerhouse. I have literally used so many probiotics from doctors, special high grade, all this crazy refrigeration, this many cultures, this much this, whatever. None of it compared even remotely to what this product did for me because of the blend of enzymes and probiotics that it has in it. So that's why I keep my whole family on it. So it's a really inexpensive way to make a super big impact on their health and the balance of their body as you're making the food changes. So, okay, that's all for today. I hope this was really helpful for you guys. Again, please reach out if you have questions. Do not feel overwhelmed, alone, confused, not know where to start. That's what I'm here for. All right, you guys have a great Monday.